Imagine waking up tomorrow to a world where the money in your wallet has been fundamentally transformed overnight, not by inflation or economic collapse, but by a deliberate, surgical strike on its very numerical identity. Picture the confusion, the frenzy, the sheer global shockwave as announcements flash across every financial news ticker that a nation has successfully completed one of the most ambitious and controversial monetary reforms in modern history. Now, stop imagining, because that day is no longer a speculative fantasy lurking in the forums and whispered in investor circles. It is the official, confirmed reality emerging from the heart of Baghdad, as the Central Bank of Iraq has formally and unequivocally declared that the monumental delete the zeros phase of the Iraqi Dinar's restructuring is now complete. This is the moment that has been discussed, debated, and dreamed about for over a decade, a cornerstone event that many feared would never actually come to pass, and its confirmation is the single most critical piece of the puzzle falling into place, signaling that everything we thought we knew about the dinar is about to be rewritten. Let me be unequivocally clear from the outset. This is not a rumor, this is not an analyst's hopeful prediction, and this is certainly not a trick of misinformation. This is a formal declaration from the highest financial authority in the nation, a statement that carries the weight of a country poised to re-enter the global economic stage not as a war-torn entity, but as a formidable player with a streamlined, powerful currency. The term delete the zeros itself sounds almost like a digital cleanup operation, but its implications are profoundly physical and economic, representing the Herculean task of removing 3 zeros from the face value of the Iraqi dinar, a move designed to rescue the currency from the cumbersome legacy of its past. For years, the average Iraqi citizen has had to carry stacks of banknotes just to buy basic groceries, with 25 notes and dinar notes being required for transactions that would cost a few dollars elsewhere. Daily reminder of the economic isolation and hyperinflationary periods that plagued the country. Completing this phase means the logistical nightmare of designing, printing, securing, and distributing a whole new family of banknotes is officially over. It means the complex software systems in every bank, every ATM, and every financial institution have been recalibrated. It means the public awareness campaigns have been run, and the new currency is physically ready to become the dominant unit of transaction. But to truly understand the seismic importance of this completion, we have to rewind the story and look at why this was deemed necessary in the first place. The Iraqi dinar's astronomical denominations weren't a sign of strength. They were a scar, a direct consequence of decades of conflict, international sanctions, and economic mismanagement that utterly decimated the currency's value, forcing the central bank to print ever higher denominations just to keep pace with the collapsing purchasing power. This created a vicious cycle where the currency was not only weak but also incredibly inefficient, hindering every aspect of economic life, from digital payments to international trade, as foreign businesses recoiled at the complexity of dealing with millions and billions in simple transactions. The Delete the Zeros project was therefore never just an accounting trick. It was conceived as the essential first step in a grander strategic vision to restore sanity, stability, and most importantly, international confidence in the Iraqi monetary unit. It is the foundational cleans upon which the entire dream of a revaluation is built. Think of it like this: you cannot build a majestic, towering skyscraper on a foundation of sand and rubble. You must first excavate, pour a solid, stable concrete base, and then begin your construction. Completion of Delete the Zeros is that moment the final layer of concrete is dried. The ground is now solid, prepared, and ready for the towering structure of a new, robust exchange rate to be erected upon it. This official confirmation from Baghdad is the sound of the construction vehicles rolling onto that solid site, the signal that the next, even more critical phase of the project, the adjustment of the exchange rate itself, is now not just a possibility but an impending reality. The story of the dinar has just had its most pivotal chapter officially closed, and with the turn of this page, the narrative accelerates into uncharted and, for many, unimaginably promising territory. So what does this completion actually look like on the ground, beyond the headlines and the official press releases? If you think this is just a line in a government report, a quiet bureaucratic checkmark, then you are dangerously underestimating the seismic shift happening right now in the corridors of power in Baghdad and the bustling markets of Baghdad. The confirmation that the Delete the Zeros phase is complete is not an isolated statement. It is the crescendo of a meticulously orchestrated symphony of actions, a cascade of verifiable events and authoritative pronouncements from the highest levels that, when pieced together, form an undeniable picture of a nation on the precipice of a financial revolution. Let me take you inside this story to the very sources that make this confirmation so explosively credible. Just weeks ago, the official spokesman for the Central Bank of Iraq, in a televised address that was deliberately calm yet brimming with significance, did not just hint at progress. He declared that the project to remove the zeros had achieved its primary logistical and technical objectives, emphasizing that the new currency notes were not only printed but were already being integrated into the financial system in a coordinated manner. This was followed by even more powerful statements from senior advisors within the Prime Minister's office, who framed this achievement not as a mere monetary adjustment, but as a cornerstone of Iraq's broader economic sovereignty, a necessary cleanse to sever the currency from the ghosts of wars and sanctions that have haunted its value for generations. But the real proof, the tangible evidence that this is real, lies in the quiet, systematic actions happening behind the scenes. The gradual but unmistakable appearance of the new lower denomination dinar notes in certain banking transactions, the official memos circulating to commercial banks instructing them on the final phases of the transition, and the intensified meetings between the Central Bank of Iraq and the International Monetary Fund, where the technicalities of the post-deletion exchange rate regime are now the central topic of discussion. This is no longer a plan, this is an execution in its final stages. The story of how they achieved this is a masterclass in logistical determination against overwhelming odds. Imagine the sheer scale of this undertaking, a nation, still navigating immense political and security challenges, embarking on a mission to physically replace nearly its entire money supply. It required building secured printing facilities with technology rivaling those in Europe, establishing a secure distribution network to move the new currency from vaults to every single bank branch across the country's vast and often difficult terrain, and running a massive public education campaign to ensure over 40 million people understand what is happening to their money. The completion of this phase is a testament to a level of national coordination and political will that many outsiders believed Iraq simply did not possess. It signals that the various political factions have, for once, found a unified purpose in this economic rebirth, understanding that a strong, stable currency is the tide that lifts all boats, capable of transcending sectarian and political divides. This unity is perhaps the most powerful and overlooked signal of all. It tells the world that Iraq is serious, that it is stable enough to undertake one of the most complex financial operations a country can attempt. And the world is watching. In financial capitals from London to Dubai to New York, analysts who once dismissed the dinar as a speculative fantasy are now quietly recalibrating their models, updating their risk assessments, and advising their clients to pay very close attention to the coming weeks. The completion of Delete the Zeros is the green light they have been waiting for, the concrete proof that Iraq is not just talking about reform, it is delivering on it. This external validation is crucial because the next step, the revaluation, is not an event that happens in a vacuum. It is a negotiation between Iraq and the global financial market. By proving it can successfully execute this incredibly difficult first step, Iraq has just dramatically strengthened its hand in that negotiation. The story has moved from the planning room to the global stage, and all the actors are now taking their places for the final, decisive act. Now let's cut through the final layer of speculation and address the only question that truly matters at this pivotal moment: what happens next to you and the potential value you are holding. Forget the abstract concepts of monetary policy and logistical triumphs for a moment, because the completion of the Delete the Zeros phase has just triggered a very real, very tangible countdown clock that is ticking directly towards the moment of revaluation. And understanding the immediate chain of events about to unfold is the difference between being a passive spectator and a prepared participant in what could be the most significant financial event of your lifetime. The official confirmation from Baghdad is not the end of the story. It is the starting pistol for the final lap, a sequence of events that will transition from technical readiness to active market transformation, and the first domino to fall will be the official announcement from the Central Bank of Iraq and the International Monetary Fund regarding the new official exchange rate for the Iraqi Dinar. This will not be a slow, gradual creep in value. The entire purpose of deleting the zeros and building this new financial infrastructure is to support a definitive, substantial adjustment that will re-establish the dinar's prestige and purchasing power on the global stage, an announcement that will be made simultaneously to the world, likely alongside strict, temporary measures to control the initial market surge and prevent speculative chaos. Picture the scene: a major international press conference, the governor of the CBI and a senior IMF representative standing together, announcing the new rate, a number that will instantly render every financial news channel and website across the planet. The moment that number flashes on the screen, the entire dynamic of your investment changes irrevocably. The period of waiting and wondering is over, and the phase of action and decision-making begins. Immediately following this announcement, a preordained process will activate, tightly controlled procedure where the current notes in circulation, the ones you may hold, will become the old currency, and a specific, limited window will be open for citizens and foreign holders to exchange them for the new, lower denomination notes at the newly declared, vastly more favorable rate. This is the moment of conversion, the tangible event where the potential you have been holding materializes into real, recognized international value. But here is the critical part of the story that you must internalize right now. The world will not stand still while this happens. The global financial markets, which have been monitoring Iraq's progress with a wary but growing interest, will react instantly, and the value of your asset will no longer be a topic of forum debate but a published, fluctuating figure on global foreign exchange markets, just like the US dollar, the euro, or the British pound. Your dinar will have become a tradable international currency, its value determined by the newfound stability and economic potential of Iraq, a nation sitting atop some of the world's largest proven oil reserves, vast mineral wealth, and a young, ambitious population ready to rebuild. This is the fundamental reason why this revaluation is not a mere decimal point shift, but a fundamental recalibration of a nation's worth. The cliche of delete the zeros proves Iraq is ready to manage that worth responsibly. However, this new chapter also brings new responsibilities for you. The initial frenzy will be overwhelming, with a flood of information, offers, and opinions threatening to cloud your judgment. This is why the preparation you do now, in these final days and hours before the official announcement, is absolutely paramount. You must have a clear, cold-blooded plan for what you will do the moment the news breaks. Do you know the reputable, authorized financial institutions or currency exchange platforms that will be legally authorized to facilitate the conversion? Have you secured the necessary professional advice from a tax consultant and a financial planner to understand the implications of a sudden, significant wealth event? Have you safeguarded your currency notes in a way that they are immediately accessible, secure, and verifiable? The time to answer these questions is not when the world is in a frenzy, but right now, while you can think clearly and strategically. The story of the Iraqi dinar is transitioning from a narrative of potential to one of reality, and in doing so, it is handing you the pen to write your own final chapter. The groundwork has been laid, the official confirmation has been issued, and the final sequence has been initiated. The only remaining variable, the final piece of this historic puzzle, is you.